should let me love you forever, forever. I wanna love you. Will you let me love you forever, forever and a day, 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 day.
Happy Friday! Happy Friday! Welcome to TMW Online, the Melanated Way. I'm Linda. That is Abby. We are just continuing to catch up on all things 90 Days. We are covering Before the 90 Days, Season 8, Episode 8. 8 is a really good. 8 is a great number, just FYI. If you're anything into like the Asian culture, like you'll see, this is my bracelet, Year of the Horse. And this other bracelet, I don't know if you can see it. I got a lot of bracelets. But anyways, for your safety, please remain seated is the title of the episode. I will tell you this episode just pissed me off. All of it. Everything about it, I was just not impressed with. And I was like, I don't know if this is like the caliber of men. Like, I cannot. Like, if this is it, no, thank you. But what were your thoughts, Abby?
I mean, unfortunately, we do have a low quality of men out there. I don't think that the show is giving us a false impression of the availability of men right now.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, does this not reflect men that you run into in real life?
Y'all, I just post. So I don't know if you follow me on social media, like my personal page, but I just put. So as you guys know, A, I'm super private, but B, I'm like always like, oh, when I meet the one, I'm not sure how I'm going to meet them, but I didn't think sliding into my DMs was going to be the situation, right? So I'm not really like, I just don't respond or I don't look at it or whatever. But I was like, let me be open in 2026. Abby, when I looked at some of the messages, it was outrageous. Like, I can't even tell you. I might have deleted it, but I know I posted it because I was shocked. I can't tell you what was said because we're on YouTube, but let me see if I can show you. Because if I can show you, you'll just be outrageous me. Okay, yeah, here. Oh, let me see. Okay. Can you don't read it out loud, but can you see that, Abby?
I can see it.
Oh, wait, no, that's not the one. That one says, oh, you're beautiful. Okay, great. Nice.
That was not horrible. It just has no substance, but it's not horrible. But yeah.
Are you gonna make me wait? That's basically, you can infer what you want to infer, but he's basically like, are you gonna make me wait? I've never met this dude. You slid in. We had like maybe 3 or 4 messages, and then that's it. That's it. I mean, good for him for being direct and to the point, but no, blocked and deleted and blocked, whatever comes first.
Mm-hmm.
It's tragic.
So yeah, I think I think a lot of these men are fighting internal battles that they refuse to resolve on their own, and then they're getting us wrapped up in their BS.
Facts. Addie wants a shout out. Let's shout out. Addie, hey. You guys, right? Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're streaming from both of our channels, so make sure you are following both. Let's jump into Forrest and Sheena. Unfortunately, I might have like an attitude about this whole episode because that's how I felt about this whole episode. Forrest is confused and bothered. He can't understand why her family has been like so normal and caring. They have a beautiful home. Is that Amina that we know from 90 Day on your channel? Anyways, Forrest,
Himna. I think it is. Hey, girl. Hey.
hey girl, hey. So Forrest is saying that she and his family is not terrible monsters. They're not stealing her money. And she's like, yeah, no, they're great people. And he's trying to confront her, and she's like dodging. If you want to have a lesson in the art of dodging questions, talk to Sheena, because she did not. She was like in one ear, out one ear. She's like, well, we're all good, right? They gave you our blessing and the blessing to get free. So that's a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm. All through the dinner, she was like redirecting conversation.
Yep. And Forrest picks it up. He's like, you know, she's dodging answers. And then this is something that I thought was interesting. He felt that he was relieved that his mom is coming so he can get her perspective, knowing that his mom is unstable and is a like disturber. And then this is where, Abby, we need to have the discussion. Forrest took the camera, just like I am right now, and said to the producers, we, in quotes, we are cutting them off financially. You see me looking over my shoulder like who, what, where? What? Who?
Mm-hmm.
Who's cutting? Mm-hmm. Who is cutting whom off? We are cutting them off financially. I was like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. Who's we? You have $0.0. You don't have a job. You're on disability. You're fighting about, and this is the thing that pissed me off about them. So you guys are all fighting about Sheena's money and how she spends her money and where she allocates her money. And you guys are mad about it. And because she lied about it, because she knows that you guys are literally trying to get her money to fund your lifestyle, you're fighting about it? Am I wrong, Abby?
No, you're not wrong. But I also don't know that Sheena's lying. I mean, what person who is abusive to another person would admit it in front of strangers?
Oh, so you think that she's not lying and that she just got caught telling the truth and now she's scared?
I think that maybe it's not to the extent that she described it, but the way that the family was speaking, the father and the sister were speaking, it didn't feel to me like, oh, she's given us all this money voluntarily. We weren't aware that there was an issue that was going on. The way she starts crying and blaming herself, I do feel like she's being taken advantage of by the family, and she can't say it in front of them. She still has to live with them. She probably still wants their love and desires their relationship and affection. I can't think of a single situation that I've ever seen in my own life where an abusive person wasn't delightful to outside people.
Wow, I didn't. Okay. Live chat and replay, let me know what you guys think. I didn't get that vibe. I again am doubling down on what I said yesterday or whenever our previous show on this episode 7. I think she was lying because she didn't want to send the money to these random people online who are forcing her to save a bunch of money so that she can come to America. Like, I just felt like more of that, but I could be wrong, and Abby could be completely right that, you know, they're just schmoozing us. Who knows? Let us know what you guys think. That being said, Sheena and Forrest walk outside of the B&B because they're meeting Molly and Dev out front. Sheena's absolutely worried about Molly's behavior. And I got to tell you guys, I don't know if you know someone who is like a Molly character where you don't know what Molly's going to show up, but I definitely have known those type of people in my lifetime. And it is stressful because you don't know if it's happy happy-go-lucky person or if it's like angry with the world person, and then you're stuck with them. Like for me, I would be stuck with them for whatever we're doing for that day, and you just never know, and it can be exhausting because you're like so tense, you don't know who's showing up, and it's exhausting. So that being said, they arrive. Molly is dumbfounded. She feels like the B&B is beautiful, but her alarms are going off. She gets a tour of the place, the garden, which is gorgeous, the house, the pool, B&B. They have orchids, they have red palms, and Molly is basically like, holy S. They're living better than me and Forrest back home in America. And I just thought that was a disgusting thing to say. I think that that's what has been all about from the beginning. They want her money. They think that they can traffic her. And yes, traffic is the word I'm using, you guys. I think they want her to come to America and she's going to be a traffic slave where she's just working when she can work, right? Because that's a whole process. When she can work to take care of, because later in the episode you'll see where she's funding not only her family, but Forrest's family as well. It's a lot of pressure on her. And let's get Abby's legal perspective on just to remind you guys what that process looks like. So when you are coming over on a K1 visa, how much that costs, because Forrest says like, oh, we need like $4,000, which we'll get into later. So $4,000, let's say the K1 visa process is she can't work right away. She's going to need to get not only like a green card, a social security number, and then a job. And then she's a professional, right? And unfortunately, when you move to America, your profession doesn't necessarily transfer over. Yes, like doctors, yes, lawyers, no. And so I don't know what the vet community is like, but I'm sure she's going to have to go through some processes and do some type of like testing in order to become a certified vet in America. So that's all of that. Everything I'm saying costs money. And Molly and Dev and Forrest don't work. And so that money's not coming from them. They haven't contributed one penny. They're mad about how she's spending her money. So Abby, take it away from a legal perspective.
So there's two parts of the K visa process that happen outside of the United States. The first one is just filing the petition. That petition is $675 right now. The filing fees keep on going up, you guys, under this administration. So if you're doing this, just make sure you recheck what exactly the filing fee is at that time. The second thing that happens after the first petition is approved is that you have to go to an interview at the consulate. There are two filing fees for that. The first one's $120, the second one's $325. Then once you enter the United States, then you have to pay another fee on entry, which is $200 right now. And all of this is assuming that you're doing it on your own, not using an attorney. If you're using an attorney, there's going to be additional fees somewhere between probably $5,000 and $10,000, depending on which attorney you decide to use. And then once you arrive in the United States, you guys know that you have 90 days to have your wedding. That's where the show title comes from, 90 Day Fiance. And then after you get married, then you apply for residency. This is also known as the green card. The filing fee for that right now is $1,440. So all of those filing fees together, you know, not even including the attorney's fees, are very expensive. It's a very expensive process to go through. And if you do anything wrong, you have to start over.
It's crazy. So, you know, I'm great with numbers, and that's because of my mom. Shout out to my mom. She's a banker. So given what Abby said, you're looking at a bare minimum, if you're doing it on your own, $2,600 on your own, making sure that you've done everything right. If you want to add on, if you got an attorney, then you're looking at adding $5,000 to $10,000 to that. And that's just the beginning. We haven't talked about, you have, like, I think that people don't realize how much money it is. You know, when you come to America, you have to pay for You have to pay for your green card. You have to pay for. I'm thinking the word because it's not a cat. It's a scan, a live scan, and the live
Yeah.
scan that you pay for. You can't even if you're like, hey, we're super rich, we have our own doctors, and that means you have health insurance, which is another cost. No, doesn't matter. You have to go to a doctor that's pre-approved on the list for your live scan that they tell you to go to, and that costs money. And it's
Mhm.
little. I think it's like I know it's less than 1,000, but it's more than 200. So
It's like, yeah.
so
And then there's other little things you have to do too, like you got to get your police reports from your home country. Some countries charge for that, some don't. Your transportation to and from wherever the interview is happening. If you're going to do a prep appointment, your practice appointment, your time off work to get it all done, it's a very intense process to immigrate to the U.S. And I think that, Americans in particular are at a disadvantage to understanding it because we, for the most part, don't have to go through applying for a visa to visit other countries. And so we don't even get a little bit of a taste of what it's like to have to immigrate somewhere. We could just show up and do visa on demand for most places.
that, and then just to jump off more on what we're talking about, you are taking whatever car service or someone is driving you to your appointments, but then you also want to have the freedom and flexibility to eventually drive yourself. And once you get your paperwork, and that's another cost, DMV and getting licensed. And you can't just like, oh, I have a license, I've driven for 10 years or however long it's been. No, you literally have to retake a written test and take the driving test, which all costs money. So this whole process is about money and you have to have it. So Sheena feeling overwhelmed, I can understand that. Her lying part, it's I don't really get what happened and I don't really get why they're fighting about it. She didn't want to send her money to Forrest and Molly, and in my opinion that's okay. And if she lied about it, oh well. They were in a long distance relationship, they had never met in real life. I don't think online relationships are real relationships. So like, so what? You don't know that person's financial situation. You don't even know them, you've never met them. I don't care. I don't like literally. That's what was pissing me off. Like, you
Yeah.
guys taking entitlement to this woman's money and how she spends it, and this is the first time you're meeting her, and the couth and non. Okay, anyways, I'm jumping ahead. Okay.
She's just not in a great position. She is in between two different factions who want her money.
Yeah, everyone wants her money. Facts. So Molly feigns that her legs are hurting, so she's gonna lie down until dinner because the family's out right now and they won't be back till dinner. And so she is planning to tell Sheena's family everything Sheena has said about them. And one of the things I was interested in, Abby, I don't know if you noticed in this episode, but again, like Abby travels way more than me. We both travel, but she's like a traveler. And I love to learn new things. So did you notice the bags on the trees where the jackfruits were?
Yeah.
I don't know what that story and history is, but I know that they were jackfruits, and then they pulled the bag off, and they pulled the jackfruit off, and it looked like a double jackfruit, which I hadn't seen before, and then they cut it up. But I'm curious to know what the bags are about. Do you know?
You know what? I thought it was to keep certain creatures from eating them, but let's see. Tags on. That's every time I saw it, that's what I thought it was. And no, I'm not talking about bugs. I'm talking about like other bigger creatures.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's to keep them safe from bats, borers, fruit flies, and sun scald.
Oh, like it's too hot, so they get overripe, maybe? Sun scald?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I see that now I know. I love learning new things about traveling. Have you had jackfruit before?
I have had jackfruit before. I've had jackfruit by itself, and then You know, a lot of Jamaicans are vegetarian and they'll use jackfruit as a meat substitute.
Yeah, so when I was vegan for 2 years, jackfruit was a lot of what I ate, and that was the meat substitute. Um, so yeah, no, it's delicious. It's delicious. Being vegan, that's a whole other conversation. Years, if you guys want to know more, let me know. I can fill you in on all the things. Um, so Katarina and Steve get back to the house and they get introduced to Molly and Deb, and Forrest is worried and concerned about what version of Molly is going to show up. And can you imagine just having to think that about your parent? Like, one of the things I think is hilarious that, do you notice that Dev does 0.0 talking, but his facial expressions, you can tell like he knows his wife, he's sick of her, he doesn't want to be involved in any of the drama that she creates constantly. He just sits there. He doesn't, like, literally, he's not even neutral. He's more like just checked out. Like, I'm not here. When he was eating, he was just eating. When she was talking to camera, he's like looking off to the side, like, I don't want to be a part of this. And I thought it was hilarious.
I think it's hilarious that exactly what you said is true. And then the only time he checked in was to say, oh, who did the yard? As if he's looking for a job.
Right. Like, I like this grass. Who did this grass? Wild. So they're sitting for dinner. Another part that was one of my favorites that I'm absolutely for, you guys. And if you can have this experience, please do. The banana leaves, the boodle fight, which was a military practice. And so there are no plates and you use your hands. And if you guys have been following us for some time or watch our show, you know that internationally, outside of America, which I'm assuming a lot of you guys are from, using your hands to eat is the norm, right? So you guys know how to fill out paper plates, the whole 9 yards. But this was a beautiful thing. So you lay out the banana leaves and you make it one big banana leaf, and everyone eats from one giant banana leaf. It's a Filipino tradition, and then you put the rice out throughout the whole table on the banana leaves, seafood, shrimp, mussels. To me, and I just lost my thought. So then they have like a bigger fish. And the fish that I thought it was, because I know it, because I have it in my fridge. Can't think of the name of it, but the big fish sits in the middle, and then you like peel it apart individually. And the same thing as you guys saw previously with Daniel and Lisa, where they were having fufu. And in Ghana tradition too, you do like a rice ball soup. And so it's a big thing of rice that you put in a ball, but then you pull it apart and you make smaller balls. Same here. With the rice, you make small balls with the rice with your hand, and then you pick up whatever the protein is that you're going to eat with it, and then you eat it with your hands. Gorgeous, an amazing experience. Just like Abby was talking about when she was in India, a lot of the times outside of the West, you're eating with your senses. So the smells are going to get you first, and then the taste is going to get you second. And it's like a phenomenal experience. So that's what they were doing. I noticed in this situation, Forrest was a mess. Forrest didn't do a rice ball. He just picked up the rice. And I don't know if you've ever picked up rice just randomly. You know, they're little, they're going to fall over the place. And then he does this. And it falls half in his mouth, half on his face. And I just was not impressed by any of it.
Like, why didn't he watch how anybody else was gathering their food before he just started eating like a maniac?
That, and didn't he listen to what Katrina said on how to do this? No.
He didn't listen. He didn't look. He just said, okay, I'm going to grab some rice now.
Yeah, outrageous. So Molly's in her head. She's waiting to start some drama. She is saying, you know, I don't understand what happened here. I thought they were cruel people, money grabbing people. I thought that they locked Sheena away only to work, and then when they let her out, that she had to literally hand over a check every time. Sounded a little dramatic to me, right? But that's how Molly is. So here's what else pissed me off, you guys. So Molly is they're hosting her, and they're being an amazing host. And this is the first time that they're all seeing each other face to face. And Molly says, I see that you've created a beautiful home. It must have been expensive. When women go out with men and say whatever, and men are like, oh, you're a gold digger. That's the vibe I got. Like, you've been out here for 5 seconds. They're feeding you. They're teaching you their tradition. And the first thing you're going to do is bring up money. And then not only money, you're going to bring it up in a way that it sounds like you're jealous. You're like, oh, this is a beautiful house. It must have been expensive. My note literally says, who says that? Abby, who says that?
So, okay, here's the thing. We don't like Molly, so we're going to be critical of her. However, I do think it is more common in other places to be just like very direct about money, because how often, like, a lot of times I've been out of the country and I buy something and people think it's appropriate to ask me how much I paid for it. And I just feel like,
when you're in the country or when you get back?
When I'm in the country. So I've had people with no problem, as recent as when I was in India, or even like I had an Uber driver pick me up one time from a wellness center and flat out asked, how much did it cost to go in there? Or how much do you pay to go in there? I had someone drop me off at my apartment before who asked how much my rent was. I do think that it's a little bit more Western to not talk directly about money.
Interesting. Okay. Because in my travels, that has not happened to me. I just thought it was rude. But then again, I'm Canadian, and we're very like, let's just be PC and not offend anyone.
The rings that I showed you guys, I showed Linda that I bought these 2 rings that I absolutely love when I was in India.
They're gorgeous.
And there were other people in my travel group who they're American, but they have different. They're immigrants. They were born somewhere else and then came to the United States. They have different cultures about them. They thought it was perfectly fine to ask how much my rings were. To me, that's like a no. So I think Molly here is being gold digger-ish, but I don't know if they would find that offensive.
Let us know what you guys think in the live chat. Do you and can you and should you bring up monetary value of things for other people? Do you know them or not? Do you mention like, oh, how much was that? And should you mention it? I'm curious.
She's definitely being shady, Becca. I agree. She's definitely being shady, but I don't think other people find money conversations as offensive as some of us might.
Facts. Becca said Molly was more likely coming from a place of exceptionalism where she thinks she should be better off because she's American. Yeah. I believe that for a fact.
Americans really kill me, because even in her
situation, girl, same.
It just really, can I tell a quick story about when I was in India?
Absolutely. And were you in India as an American?
I was in India as a Canadian, but because guys, I play Canadian sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. I did tell other people that I was from the US. We did have some Canadian group members though that were really cool. But I'm telling this story to illustrate a larger problem that we're currently having in the US. So just stay with me for a little bit, okay? While I was in India, they were having this enormous AI conference. It was advertised everywhere. It was on billboards. There were special flower arrangements inside of our hotel about this AI conference. And our tour guide even told us that we were having to reroute some of our plans for the days because of all the traffic patterns, the roads being closed in certain places for the AI conference. All these very important people who were flying in. We had lunch one day near the US Embassy, and he was telling us we're just having to wait a little bit more than usual because all of these very important people are here at the embassy in this area for the AI conference, right? So the background is that India is leading in artificial intelligence, right? Cool. A bunch of people were asking if they could take pictures with our group, me and the white people. So it wasn't even about color. It was just, oh, there's some Americans. Let's ask if we could take pictures with them, right? So one of the ladies kept saying yes. And I made a joke to her and said, all right, if we see you on Facebook dancing next week, we'll know what happened. As in, they're gonna take your likeness and add artificial intelligence to it, and you'll be doing all kind of weird things on Facebook. Because I'm sure you guys have seen how they make Bill Clinton dance, they make Trump dance, all that AI stuff, right? She says out of her mouth, this is a third world country. I don't think they're able to do that. So even with the evidence in her face that India is a leading country in artificial intelligence and all the different reminders that we've had of that throughout this trip, because this was like day 10 of the trip when she said that, she still could not bring herself to acknowledge that whatever prejudice she had towards Indian people and probably all minorities was not true. She couldn't bring herself to recognize that. And this is a tiny story of a huge problem that we have in this country when people refuse to allow information that is true to permeate their prejudices.
100%. You have shocked the live chat. They are like going off like, what? Wow. Huh? All that stuff. So thank you for sharing. Okay. Back to Molly. Molly thought that Sheena's family were cruel, money grabbing, locked Sheena away in some type of dungeon, and she wasn't expecting what she saw, right? It was completely different to what she saw. Molly asked her family, Molly asked Sheena's family, are you okay with Sheena moving to the US? And her sister Katrina says, yeah, that's been her dream for years, to work there, to live there, all the things. And that didn't sit right with Molly at all, like not at all. And the dad's like, yeah, yesterday we gave the blessing for them to move forward in the relationship. Forrest made it clear that he's low on budget. And Molly, being a helicopter mom, said, let's put Forrest's finances to the side. I want to talk about Sheena. Okay, let's make this about Sheena and not that you and your whole family are just busted. You're busted. Abby, they're busted. Like, Abby, throw yourself, because that's what I did. Throw yourself in this situation. What benefit do you think you would have in this situation if you were in a relationship with Forrest? Like, just name one benefit.
I mean, we both know I'm a little bit of a chubby chaser, so that's it.
Oh, okay. So I'll talk for me then. I'm absolutely, definitely not a chubby chaser, so that would absolutely not inspire me. If anything, I'm like, what the hell? Y'all don't work. You guys have no money. I'm already paying for my family. Now I'm paying for you all. You guys want me to pay for my trip to make it to America. What do I need you for? And you guys get here. I'm paying for housing for you guys. I'm paying for transportation for you guys. I'm paying for food for you guys. I house you at my family's B&B and feed you. Like, no. 0.0 benefit. Just because you got a chubby chaser, you got a chubby chaser that can't even chase. can't even like, I mean, no, absolutely not.
No, they're a welfare government funded family. And even in their receipt of all these government benefits, they still believe that they're exceptional. This is just like Tina said, Molly is driving the Delulu train.
Facts. That part. Facts. And the fact that you even said that, they're a welfare family thinking that they're exceptional, and because they're American, that's what they lean on, is wild to me. It's wild.
Mhm.
The mediocrity of it all. Anyway, so Molly brings up these points. She's confused about what's going on here. She thinks that Sheena's family is taking all of her money, and she wants to know if they didn't get her money. Would they and did they threaten her? Were they cruel to her? Did they mistreat her and force her to give money and be in this situation? And do they call her names? And would they throw her out and make her homeless because she's not giving them money? The dad looks over shocked, looks at Sheena and said, "Did you say all that?" Because Molly's saying that's the impression she gave us. And he then goes on to say, and I believed him, which is why I think that the take that you had, I have to like sit with it a little bit, because I believed him. He said, no, I would never mistreat any of my children. And I do think as a parent, that is your first go-to, unless you're like a terrible individual and a terrible parent. Sheena starts crying, and it's like that ugly cry, you guys, the cry that you know you got caught. The fact that listen, y'all, if you're going to be a liar, or you're going to tell stories, or if you're going to not tell the full truth, what you don't want is to have all the people that you've misspoken to meet up in one place. Like, that is ridiculous. And if you're going to do that, then you should come clean before they all get together so that you're not in this situation. That is my personal opinion. So Sheena's ugly crying. She's saying sorry to everyone. Molly is not giving her 1 inch of grace. She's like, why do you lie all the time? Sheena professes her apologies over and over again. And Molly continues to call her a liar. And basically, Sheena says she lied because she can't save enough money. It's hard for her to save for the visa. She is not only supporting her family and herself, but she's also supporting Forrest's family. She's feeling overwhelmed, and it's too much. Katrina, her sister, said, she's really disappointed that in this first meet, not only is Forrest's family talking about money, but they have the impression that her family is abusing her. And so she's disappointed to hear that. And then we find out from the dad that all the money that Sheena's been giving them over the years, they have it listed, which I believe because they have a business. And if you've ever had a business, small business, LLC, any of the things, you know that you have to keep track of all the incomes because taxes and payroll and all of the things. So it's all listed, and they've always considered any money that she gave them a loan, and we can give it back to her. Now, I believe it, but the thing is, if it's been 7 years, Abby, of giving money and loans, how come you have not given any of the money back yet to date?
For me, I don't think it's true. And I think what Molly did is very dangerous for somebody who is a victim of abuse, if that's what's happening. I'm going to try to put my headphones on again. They weren't working earlier. But imagine if you had a girlfriend who was being abused by her spouse or boyfriend, and you just went over their house and said, why'd you give her a black eye? Imagine how poorly that would go. Like, you can't do that to abuse victims, to put them on the spot, because they're just the person who's abusing them is going to go harder in the end.
So I'm curious to our viewers, Do you believe Sheena, or do you believe that her family is abusive and has been taking her money? Let us know. If you're watching the replay, also let us know. Hello, Abby. Okay, while we
I'm
wait
just
for Abby, I'm going to continue on.
headphones.
Sheena feels overwhelmed. She's like, I've been the breadwinner and it's hard for her. The family says that they know that she was saving for a visa, but they didn't understand the whole process and she didn't explain the whole process to them. And so Sheena's like, yeah, you know, I'm trying to save, but it's hard. She's basically saying she doesn't make enough money to support, I don't know, how many people were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, right? Not including her dad, her mom, who's not feeling well, right? So she, one person as a professional, having to support her mom, her dad, her sister, the B&B, Forrest, Molly, Dev, herself. She's feeling overwhelmed. That's what I took from it. And Forrest decides to finally jump in, and he only heard the dad say, oh, it's a loan? Okay, so how long would it take to get the money back? And the dad's like, well, I mean, how much of the money? We haven't even talked about that. He's like, 4,000. And the dad's like, we would have to definitely check our finances. Okay, and then how would you feel if there was like no more money coming to you, like no more loans? Would you be okay with that? Because like we want to cut you off. And then dad's like, I guess we'll be okay. I wish Sheena would talk to us about this. The dad also thinks this is totally crazy because he feels men should be the providers for women. So like, why now is my daughter providing not only for you, but you're trying to cut her off from supporting her family, which is the cultural tradition in the Philippines. Anything you want to add to that, Abby? Because I was just
I just don't understand how Forrest doesn't feel embarrassed to be sitting there asking them questions, just sitting there unemployed. How is he
Right.
not embarrassed?
Right. And the audacity of it all, Forrest and Molly, who bring nothing to the table, who have no money, are fighting about money that's not even theirs.
Right. This would be a good time for Sheena to jump in and just say, here's the problem. All of you are talking about my money.
That part. All of you guys are talking about my money, and you guys do not contribute anything. And I'm financing this trip. You guys wouldn't be eating or traveling or seeing anything without me spending my money. Absolutely not. Absolutely. Listen, cut your losses. I don't care how much you've been dreaming about going to America. It is not worth it, in my opinion, Sheena. Stay where you are. Continue to focus on yourself and your business and your career. Help your continue to have a successful B&B, and maybe open up multiple B&Bs and be an investor instead of just a loan officer, and continue to collect the dividends. Like, that makes sense to me, but what do I know? Do you want to add anything else, Abby?
Nope, that's it.
Moving on to Daniel and Lisa, unfortunately. Daniel put traditional African clothing on. I promise you guys, by the end of this season, I will show you all things African. Maybe I'll dress up in some African garb because I have a lot of it. I'll teach you and show you. But that being said, they're meeting his uncle for the blessing for them to move forward in their union. One of the things that you see is the alcohol, bringing alcohol as a gift. That is absolutely an African tradition. You can't go anywhere. You don't go to a funeral. You don't go to a wedding. You don't go to a house empty-handed. And alcohol to the elders is 100% the tradition. And the more alcohol you bring, the more respect it's considered. So I thought that was interesting that they were able to show that component, although they didn't give the history behind it. So I wanted to share with
Mhm.
you what that was about. It wasn't like, oh, they're a bunch of lushes. No, because you don't see them drinking it. It's
Currency, right?
it's currency, but it's also a respect thing, and it's respect to your elders who came before you.
Hmm.
The next thing is she's putting on the head tie, and she doesn't know how to do it. He's like, well, you should learn to do it by yourself. Didn't you watch, the lady at the market? And she's like, yeah, I didn't have a mirror though. I was like holding it down, which is true. Listen, you guys think those head wraps, and I don't have it. Anyways, I have my scarf. This is my scarf from my church, but I just want to show you guys something real quick. The head wrap always starts this way, okay? And when you're wrapping it to tie your ears down, but your entire head. Now, the thing is, this is not long enough, but the biggest part is making the bow in the front. This is not going to work, but I'm just trying to illustrate to you guys. So the bow right here in the front, and then it also has to tuck under, and see, actually not bad. And it also has to stand out. So do you see how that works? It's not easy if you don't know how to do it and you didn't grow up with it. It's not easy. So this random Lisa who barely can walk forward is not going to be able to know how to do this. So when Daniel said he didn't think that he'd have to help a woman, especially his girlfriend, do a wrap, a tie wrap, I was like, that sounds stupid. Like, it just sounds stupid. It just sounds stupid. When you are 16 and you're learning to drive for the first time, someone shows you all the things in the car. Do you think you're an expert on day one? Absolutely not. It's the same thing. Tying those is, listen how it wasn't until, I'll be honest with you guys, it wasn't until I was an adult that I actually learned how to tie them, because they're really hard. My mom used to do it for me all the time. So for him to say he learned from his mom, yeah, you did. We all did. Stop being an idiot. This lady that you're with is not all full marbles. Full marbles? Anyways, you guys know what I'm trying to say. She doesn't have all of her marbles. So she's absolutely gonna not, she can't even dress herself. Y'all, she like, no, you can't expect her to know how to do this. It's stupid. Anyways, he gets her ready in, it's semi-traditional garb, by the way. Semi-traditional. It was not the whole thing. It was semi-traditional. They had like the kente cloth, and she had some shirt on. It was, anyways, I'm not gonna get all into it because she was semi-traditional, acceptable, but not fully traditional. Mm-hmm. So they're in the car, Abby, and she just really wants to make sure that she makes a good impression. She wants to be a good Ibu wife. And Daniel's like, well, just make sure you don't lie to my uncle. And here's where we have to have a conversation, because in our present day world and where we're living, Lisa said all the things that I often think about with America. So, we're all used to fake news, but it's not fake news. But just because you're saying it's fake news, you want people to believe it's fake news. When Daniel said to her, just don't lie to my uncle. And then she said, well, what do you consider a lie? Because what I consider a lie and what you consider a lie might be different. She says, I'm from America. My culture is different than yours. And then he looks at her and said, baby, a lie is a lie. Abby, please tell me what you Americans are talking about, because a lie is a lie. And unfortunately, it seems like in America, there is a spectrum of what a lie is.
Well, I disagree that there's a spectrum of what a lie is, but I will tell you what Lisa's talking about. She's not talking about a lie. I was so shocked when she said this, and I immediately understood what she was saying because I don't usually exist in both Americas on purpose. But what she's saying is there are certain things that I'm allowed to do at home that I'm not allowed to do here. And so therefore I am lying about those things. So it's to her, she's not lying about her involvement in being with women and being a lesbian for multiple years. For her, she is protecting herself and she's not ready to talk about it yet. So what she's really saying is when she says, I'm American, my culture is different, my feeling of what she's saying is I've done some things since I got here for self-preservation that are not required for me to do when I'm back home.
Oh.
That's what I heard her say. And I was like, oh my God, I know what she's talking about. Because if I was in a country where it was not okay to be, first of all, I don't travel to places where it's not okay to be queer. It's not okay to be trans because that was one of my lifelong principles. But if I found myself in one of those places, would I go around talking about my life or my family members who are non-gender conforming or not in the sexual orientation that's okay in that country? No, I wouldn't. Not gonna put me in locked up abroad.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it's okay for her to have told these lies. I'm just saying, like, oh, I think I know exactly what she's talking about.
Okay. For me, that hasn't landed yet, so I'm just gonna digest it. I think, like Daniel, a lie is a lie, and I don't think it's okay to lie in any setting. And I don't think you should put yourself in a situation where you feel like you have to lie. Like I just no, Abby. Actually, I'm thinking about it. No, absolutely not. Sorry, but I understand what you're saying. But we'll just have to agree to disagree. Absolutely not.
Oh, no. I don't think it's okay. I don't think it's okay. I just think that's what she was trying to say. It's not okay what she did by any means.
It's not. In my opinion, it's not. And I don't even want to hear the excuses for why she is saying this. I feel like she's ingenuine. I feel like she is not truthful with who she is as a person. And as we go through this a little bit more, I'll explain why. But she wants to be a good Ibu wife. Daniel's nervous because he doesn't know if she's going to be honest. How are you engaged to someone and you don't know what version of them is coming out, whether they're going to be honest or not? That just tells me that you don't trust her and you know that she's been lying to you specifically, or else you would not have trust issues with her. He says, if he doesn't get the blessing from his uncle in lieu of his dad because his dad is sick, then he's going to have to walk away from this union. One of the things, or some of the things that he doesn't know because she hasn't told him and goes to enforce what I've been trying to tell you guys is that when you're in an online, whatever you want to call it, if you're calling a relationship, in my opinion, it's not a real relationship because you don't know who that person is. You haven't seen how they live. You don't know anything about them in real life, in person. And so Daniel doesn't know that she's been married, is married, still married, needs to get divorced, was with women. So she's 52 years old? She's been with women for the last 21 years of her life. 21 years. He doesn't know that either. And he just knows nothing about her. So she looks at him and is like, I'm sitting beside my fiance and my fiance knows nothing about me. Well, yeah, because you haven't told him. How would he even guess? How would he even think about those things? However, as I tell you guys, there are conversations that you need to have before you become in a serious relationship, and especially before you become engaged. Y'all don't know, talk about finances. You haven't talked about kids. You haven't talked about spirituality. You haven't talked about any sex, anything. You're just rolling with it because you guys have Google eyes on the internet. Like, just stop it. Just stop it. So the other thing that I was not impressed with was Daniel's lack of information in order to make his partner successful in a cultural situation. When you are in different cultures, especially like countries that are steeped in culture, Africa is steeped in culture, India is steeped in culture. I mean, everywhere outside of the West is steeped in culture, you guys. And I just didn't like the fact that he thought that he could put like a kente cloth on her, wrap her head, and think that he could just spin her out. You guys have to have a discussion about what the culture entails. What is expected of you? How can I set her up for success? So the fact that he didn't talk about that Africa is, it's a misogynistic country. Men come first. Women are to serve their men, and that's just how it is. Now, are there successful women, business women, all of that stuff? Yes, but the culture of it all, and there's too much to explain, but like tribal and what tribes and where you're from, what location you live in, and how you were raised, it still comes down to patriarchy. It's still that type of country. There are traditions with blessings, and the fact that he didn't explain what does a blessing look like. I know from Soldier Boy, you guys thought it was just about getting a goat and presenting a goat. Again, it's different tribes. Every tribe is different. One of the things that is important in general is respecting your elders. Respecting your elders, and part of that is kneeling before them. So when you saw it looked like he was sitting on a king's chair, and then they walked in, and then he got all like in his feelings. It was a disrespect to him. And I know it sounds crazy to the West because even I cringed at that moment. But again, it's a cultural thing. So that all being said, I just don't think Daniel set her up. I don't think he sat down and said, Lisa, this is what expected of you. This is what you should do. This is how you should act. You know, when like even down to like left hand, right hand, you're never presenting with the left hand. It's considered bad luck. It's considered like curse. It's a whole thing, you guys. You guys, I can give you a TED talk on it. But that being said, she knows nothing about the culture. She doesn't. Like, she's learned as much as she could, but I blame Daniel for not teaching her what to do in each moment. So when they get to Modestus, which is the uncle, she has to kneel down before him. She stands, and she's standing beside Daniel, and it's like an awkward moment. She steps up on the platform, and then Modestus freaks out and says, "Don't you know our culture?" And she's like stunned, right? Which is, again, I blame Daniel for that. Modestus invites them up after they've already kneeled. They present the alcohol to him. The alcohol, again, this was something that they should have explained, right? So you don't just hand over a gift. You present it and you put it down. And then your host will then continue the process. So when Daniel was like, okay, Lisa, you hold the alcohol. When we get there, you give it to me and I'll present it to him, which they never did. He even presented it wrong. So I'm like, Abby, I was just like unimpressed. I was unimpressed. And I guess because I'm African, I was just like, this is not how it is. And you guys are making it something that's not. There are a lot of things that are old school, but it's also like being misrepresented.
Mm-hmm. I can tell that's frustrating for you.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So they present the alcohol, and Daniel's big thing is he wants to make sure that Lisa's a good woman that he can marry. Lisa's completely nervous about it. The uncle comes out a blazing, y'all. He's like, "You're not an Ibu woman. I want to know more about you." And he asks her a series of questions. I'll go through them quickly. "Who are you?" He says. She's like, "I'm Native Irish. I was adopted. I'm a hard worker. I take care of my household. I also take care of Daniel's household," which is true. She sends the money. Which? 2, are you practicing Christian or are you just by name? This is her first lie, says she's a practicing Christian, but she's not always been a good one. That part is true. Practicing is a lie. 3, do you drink? She says yes. That is true. 4, do you smoke? She says no. I have in the past. I've given it up. That was a lie. We just saw her vaping the episode before. Okay. Got in a fight. Went to vape. Lie. 5, are you or were you a lesbian? And then this whole line of questioning was like, what year are we in? Are you or were you a lesbian? Do you practice lesbianism? I'm sorry, you guys. I had not. It just was very crazy to me. And then he goes on to say, "I know it's rampant in America, but we don't do that here at all." And again, Africa is very traditional. It's very Christian based. It's very old school. It's not progressive as you see in America and all the things. So what he's saying is true. Okay. She says, no, she doesn't practice it anymore. She doesn't practice it anymore. "No, sir. It was a fling, a one-time thing." Lie, lie, liar. Lie, lie, liar. La la liar. You're a liar. You've been lying, and no one loves a liar. And that's why, too, y'all should be careful when you're lying in front of someone who's not only a Christian but practices like outside of Christianity. You should be careful. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not about to sit there in a foreign country and be lying to the gods. No, thank you. So she says, no, she's not a practicing lesbian anymore. It was a one-time thing, a fling. And then he asked her directly, where I was like, oh. Do you know what this is, Abby?
You're hiding from something.
Hiding from all the crazy karma that's about to come her way, because he asked her to her face, do you lie? And what did she say? I've lied in the past, but I'm not a liar. Sis, you've been lying in this situation. You've been lying. These 7 questions, maybe you got 3 out of 7 correct in your truth, but you are a liar. So they speak in their native language. Are you sure you want to marry her? Because 1, I don't want you to disgrace our family, and I don't want you to embarrass us. And do you believe what she's saying? Daniel says yes to all of this. And then Lisa has this, Lisa has this like face-to-face with the production and says, you know, she's not ashamed of who she is. She's living in her truth. And I was like, no, you are ashamed and you are a liar, because if you've been a lesbian for 21 years and you're confronted about it and then you lie about it, what part of that? And I don't know. I'm not a lesbian. I don't know. But I would think that if I was actually living my truth, I would stand and be in my truth and I wouldn't lie about it. Because it's not like she's not out. You're married to a woman. You've been a lesbian for 21 years? And then now you're lying about it. So don't go to camera and say that you're not ashamed, because yes, you are. And you're not telling the truth. You are a liar. She gets the blessing, which is what she wanted. And that's all that's important to her, which I think is manipulation. And I think it's terrible. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Here's something that's been bothering me about Lisa for a long time. I think that the partner you choose in life is a reflection of your own values and a reflection of your own beliefs. I do not think it's possible to have a strong conviction or belief and have a partner who doesn't share that strong conviction or belief. I think it's an indication of a person who has extremely low self-esteem and low conviction to be with someone who is the opposite on those things. Like, can you have some difference of opinion? You can have some Lutheran and Catholic. Yeah, you can have that, I think. But for her to say, I'm not ashamed of who I am, so you believe people should be able to love who they want to love and engage in lesbian relationships, but you're with a partner who doesn't believe that as a fundamental fact of his culture and his own belief. I'm sorry, I don't trust you as a lesbian. I don't think that's a real conviction that you have.
Not only that, I just don't trust you as a person, because where do you stand? Sounds to me like you're wishy-washy and you'll go wherever the wind takes you.
Right.
Stand in your convictions.
Exactly. So
What's the saying?
you're willing. Yeah.
What is the saying? Y'all, what is the saying? I know someone's gonna know it. I'm gonna try it, but basically, like, stand for something, or what am I trying to say?
Or you'll fall for anything. Oh, you know what? I should let you finish it. You go ahead, finish it how you want to.
That's funny. That is so funny, because Abby knows me by now. Yeah, if you stand for nothing, you stand for nothing, you fall for everything. I think that's the saying I'm trying to get at. But basically, like, stand 10 toes deep. Stand down. If what you believe in, stand in it. You might not be right, but stand in it. Own it.
Right.
How are you a lesbian for 21 years and then denying your, what did she call it? Lesbianism? What did he call it? That I just was so shocked. Do people say that anymore?
Did he say lesbiality? He said something.
He said lesbianism.
You know what?
He said,
Lesbianism?
are you or were you a lesbian? Do you practice lesbianism? Lesbianism is an aberration and it's not in our blood. I know it's rampant in America, but we don't do that here at all. Verbatim. That's what he said.
And she sat there and let someone talk to her about that, about her life, about her loved ones, about the people that she's loved. You know, like, do you remember that old interview where this anchor, he was actually trying to be respectful, but he couldn't get his language together. So he has the personality. He's like, are you gay? Why are you gay?
I don't know what you're talking about, but
did I call you a man or a woman? But like, in that way, it was a little tiny bit humorous because it reminded me of that interview. Because if you watch that full interview, I'll send it to you because it is hilarious. He actually was trying to be respectful, but he just couldn't get his language together. But this guy is not being respectful. You're allowing him to disrespect you to your face. You're allowing him to disrespect something that you claim is a fundamental belief. And so I just don't think she can be trusted. And she even tried to say earlier, like, I take care of my family and I take care of Daniel's family. You don't take care of your family. We just listen to Faith talk about you dragging her through so many different schools and not allowing her to have a stable childhood. And even to this day, you're borrowing money from friends. That's not you taking care of your household. Lisa is a big liar. She is unable to see herself in any reality whatsoever.
Agreed. Shout out to the live chat. It's popping. Mitchell, Ryan, Tina. Hey, we see you. Tina knows the interview you're talking about. Tina says, which is hilarious to me.
Yes.
She says, I don't practice lesbianism anymore because of the Lisas of the world. I'm retired. Hilarious. All right. Do you want to add anything to Lisa and Daniel before I move on?
That's it. Let's go on. Let's keep
so
moving.
Record, you guys, keeping up. I'm sick and tired of Forrest and Sheena already. Like, I'm just done with that whole situation. I don't understand how you control someone else's money. Like, I will never understand that. Part two, I am obviously been sick of Daniel and Lisa. So I just want to remind you guys that this episode was very hard to watch. Moving on to Javon and Lynn. They're on their honeymoon. It's the first time they're eating together, sleeping together, being intimate, fighting in person. They have been married for 3 years. And again, you guys, it just, okay. You've been married for 3 years, but really you guys have been married for like the week that you've been in person, in my opinion. How are you married online via Zoom? How do you get married online? And I know Abby said it's very common and people do it, but I'm sure that those people have met each other in real life before they got married. I'm positive of it. That's not the case with these two.
No.
Met. They've been together for almost 7 years. And in the last 3 years, they got married which is weird because the pandemic was 6 years ago. And they talk about getting married during the pandemic. So like the math is not mathing for me, but whatever. Let's say they've been married for 3 years, like they say. But they've never met in the almost 7 years that they've been together. They never met. They've never met. Okay. So all of these things are a first. Took you at least 3 years since you got married to come and have your honeymoon. Y'all stop it. Just can you guys stop it? Can you stop with the foolishness? And then my question to you as a traveler, Abby, and not traveler in the sense that Americans like to say that they're traveling and they don't believe the laws, but travelers and they travel around the world. Abby, when you go travel and you're staying in a hotel, do you make the bed?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
I thought you were going to ask me something hard. Yeah.
You make the bed before you leave?
Yeah.
Oh.
Especially now. I mean, like back in the day when you had room service every single day, it wasn't a high priority. I just kind of like shuffle the bed together. But now it's like really common that you don't have regular room service anymore. So you make your own bed. Or a lot of times I'll just go ahead and put the little note out saying that I don't want room service. Just drop me off some new towels. Yeah. Yeah. Silver lining, same. Like I straighten the bed. Not like I'm not doing a tight tuck like I might do at home.
Okay.
I thought you were going to ask me something difficult.
I don't make the bed, you guys. And I don't make the bed, and room service comes every day and they make the bed. And that's one of the perks that I love about staying at a hotel. So I was shocked when they were making the bed, but that's just me. That's just me. And I mean, that's just me. Okay. So.
Man, I'm like, I need to up my petty game because her making up her side of the bed was hilarious.
Yeah, so she made up her side of the bed. He's outside. They're still fighting. He comes in. He apologizes for bringing, quote, it up at the wrong time, and then looks at her to her face and is like, we good? All of that irritated me, right? So all of that is just, it's not for me. It irritated me. No, we're not good is what I would say. But she's like, yeah, okay, we're good. But she's trying to explain to him that it's not just him criticizing her. She has trust issues with her. And there are things that she questions about him, as she should. You don't know him. You've known him for 4 days. I don't care if you think you've been married for 3 years. Don't care. Don't care. The fact that you quit your job so that you can online chat with this fool is just like still stuck in the front of my mind. You don't know him. He doesn't know you. So yeah, you guys are going to fight because you fought even online. Can you imagine, Abby? You've never met this person and then you spend time online fighting with them in your online relationship. No. If I put that in a social media situation, you guys would just block and delete.
Right.
So they're spending the day. They're going aqua biking, which I absolutely love. Super fun. I thought it was interesting because I didn't realize how tall Javon was. I guess he told us at some point, but I clearly was not paying attention. So he's over 6 foot. So him like pedaling with like his knees hitting his chest. It was hilarious to me. He deserves that. Last day of their honeymoon, before they go to her hometown to meet her mom. So she wants to like have a talk so that they can get everything on, out in the open. So she's like, you were talking to someone that I didn't want you to talk to. I need you to show me your phone to see if you kept your promise that you would stop talking to her. So can I see your phone, and can I see it now? He looked super nervous, but he unlocked his phone and he gave it to her. And she's like, yeah, because he watches all these masculinity podcasts. And I think you guys told me it's called Red Pill Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He's that guy, right? So keep that in the back of your mind. He's that guy. Incel Red Pill Podcast behavior. And so she is worried because the podcast he listens to encourage men to cheat on women, and cheating is okay if the man provides for the woman. Okay, that's the first thing that you guys, I'm not going to go off on a tangent. If you know me by now, you already know how I feel about that. That's just ludicrous, ridiculous, stereotypical, not healthy, all the things. It's gross to me. So that's the first thing he says. I tried to not say all the things, and even that was good for me because my note just says, wow. Just wow. Okay. So she goes through his phone. She only finds pictures of Zoe, his dog. So she's feeling a little bit better. She also found a lot of pictures of her, pictures that she sent him, which, you guys, means nothing. Okay. It means nothing. When you send guys pictures, guys are visual. They're going to love your pictures and they're going to keep them. And, when, I don't know how to say this any other way, but when they're bored and they need to be encouraged in what they're doing in the moment, they're going to look at those pictures, and that's why they keep them.
Mm-hmm.
So Javon feels super offended, feels like no matter what he does, she should trust him regardless. And then this is the other thing that pissed me off. Again, going on with the theme of this whole episode, the whole episode pissed me off, and the men specifically were just doing the most. He says, Abby, most women only act right when they feel like they can be replaced. I said, WTF. What do you have to say?
Javon is so incredibly immature and insecure that he is the perfect victim of these manosphere red pill content type people. And he's going to listen to them to his own detriment, because he could have a happy relationship. But to his own detriment, he's going to listen to them and follow their advice. And he'll have no one to blame but himself.
Abby, that's so eloquent. Abby is so eloquent, and so, that's why she's great at what she's doing. I want to tell you, as an entertainment reporter myself, is absolutely not. What you're not about to say about women is that the only reason, okay, let me get it right. Most women only act right when they feel like they can be replaced. Are you the prize? Are you the prize? So you're trying to say that women are going to act right because you're the prize and they want to get replaced so that they can continue to serve you and build you up and love on you and all the things. Are you crazy? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, you guys. Absolutely not. No. Whatever podcast you're listening to, Javon, you need to stop listening to it immediately. That is ridiculous. So Annalyn doesn't trust him 100% still. And it's the next day. They're going to go for a little outing. They're walking. Her shoe breaks. She's like, carry me. He doesn't, because he's lame. He's like, oh, you have a son. So she's limping with one strap on her shoe, and he allows her. No, not like, okay, you don't want to, maybe you're not strong enough. Maybe you don't want to do that. Your excuse was she's wearing a dress. You guys are literally steps away from where you're staying. He didn't even run back and get her a different pair of shoes. He let her limp to the restaurant. I was disgusted by that. Really not.
It was, in my opinion, it was less of a true carry me and more of like a bid for affection. So if he had in that moment just given her a hug or give her an arm to lean on to help her walk, that probably would have been satisfactory. I don't think he literally meant carry me all the way. What do you think?
I think you're right, but he didn't do anything. Carry me.
He didn't. He failed.
My shoe, go back to the hotel and get my flip-flops, hug me, kiss me, arm in arm, walk with me, and we'll do this together, and you can limp and I'll limp with you, but I got you. So nothing. He did nothing. He just looked at her. It's like, you're wearing a dress. No.
Yeah, he's just not happy to be with her.
No, and he's just not a happy person. Tina says he's insufferable, and I will tend to agree with you, Tina. So they get to the restaurant. There's a Halo Halo bar, which you guys, if you haven't had, you have to try it sometime in your lifetime. It's like a savory dessert. Sweet potato, purple yams, galam, cheese, corn. You mix it all in. You put some cream and like shaved ice. You mix it all together. It's phenomenal. She explains, which I didn't know, the translation is mix mix. So Halo Halo means mix mix. And he's not open-minded. He's looking at it like, ew. And I have to tell you something, you guys. And I don't know, maybe, I know we have a lot of American viewers, so maybe you guys are different. But in the past, I know in traveling that you all like what you like, consistency. So like you'll go to Japan and you'll go to McDonald's. You'll go to Singapore and you'll go to Starbucks. You'll go to Canada and you'll go to Target. Like you guys just like what you like from what you know in America. And I just find it fascinating. And I find it a bit closed-minded, but I mean, you guys like what you like. And I'm not sure if it's still that way, but I bet on it. So that being said, he's not open-minded and he doesn't want to try. She's like, just try it at least once. So you can say that you tried it. And he's kind of like, What are your thoughts, Abby?
Well, on the one hand, he did try the food at the local eatery that she took him to. But remember him saying it was burning his mouth, but he didn't want to say anything because he didn't want to be perceived as not manly. So I feel like he feels like it's okay for him to reject this dessert because it's a dessert. So it's not like not manly to not eat it. I honestly think that's the lens that he's looking through, not a lens of being more adventurous or less adventurous.
I agree with you. Still, that's, again, he's not being open-minded. He's doing...
Yeah, but he's not open-minded whatsoever.
Yeah. So they sit down, they're having their Halo Halo, and she wants to take a picture, which she does. And this is the picture. And she doesn't like the picture. She thinks he looks miserable. She starts talking about how he's always whining, how he's unromantic. She doesn't like how he talks to her and how he says things. And here's the thing that really, again, irritated me. She gives an example of on their second anniversary, how he didn't remember it. And he was like, okay. And he just pushed past it. And then he said to her face, in this moment that you're seeing on your screen right now, that's a luxury that she can remember anniversaries because she sits at home all day while he has to go to work. And he works 15 hours a day. And so therefore, he's not going to remember everything.
And who set that system up, Jovan? Who set that system up? Who asked for that? Who wanted her to be available for you all day long? Who wanted that, Jovan?
She says there are plenty of people that are married that work outside of the home that remember anniversaries. And she says that her form of love is physical touch and words of affirmation, which that's not him. His belief in love is showing up and providing. So they're definitely not on the same page. She starts crying because she's trying to communicate to him her needs, and he literally is just not hearing her. You know, you guys, someone can talk to you and you can input it into your brain, but if you're actually not listening, then there's no point. And that's what's happening here, because he's literally not listening to her. And I think, in my personal opinion, is because he doesn't value her. He thought he was going to get some third world Filipino wife that was going to fit into his incel mindset, that he's the man, he's the provider, he can do and say whatever he wants, and she's going to be submissive and quiet and deal with it. That's what he thought he was getting. He didn't get
Correct.
that. He got someone who is opinionated, who knows about her love language, who's educated, who stands up for herself, and that's why they continue to fight. All of that is my opinion, but I also know that it's true. So that being said, she starts crying because she's frustrated because he's not hearing her. And instead of trying to understand where she's coming from, he says, "Why are you being so emotional?" She literally says, "Just because you send me money and have sent me money in the past, you don't own me. And I hate that you throw that in my face. And so from this day forward..." Anything to add, Abby?
Nothing. We can move on, just like Anna Lynn needs to move on.
Silver Lining says that man has a burner phone, or he cleaned it before he arrived. I believe that 100%. We're moving on to Beer and Laura again. You got it. This. Listen, you guys. Okay, if you take anything away from me from this episode, please take this. Okay, when you're traveling, we're in 2026. Even if this was filmed in 2025, bring your phone and Chat GPT it, Google Translate it. If you have iPhone, there's a translator app. Do that and translate for yourself, because I already know that some of these translators do not translate correctly or verbatim, but this translation took the cake.
So you have to help me out with this one because I'm in Norway, and so when I was watching the episode, my phone translated everything how that they were saying in Turkish to Norwegian. So I was just like, I was so lost on what was going on just in this segment, because like obviously, well, not obviously, but I don't know any Norwegian.
I love that. Okay, so I don't know if you were to tell people. So she's traveling as per usual, and Abby's in Norway. Tell us a little bit about Norway, your experience so far.
First of all, I feel like this is my country. I don't know if I'll ever actually make it here to live here, but this is my second time here, and every single time I'm like quiet, minimalist. Nobody cares to bother me. Nobody asks where I'm from. Everyone speaks to me Norwegian first until I speak English. It's home. This trip in particular, though, has been a little bit difficult. Somebody stole my debit card when I was on the way to the airport. My shoes fell apart. My toes were coming out of my shoes by the time I got to Heathrow Airport. There's nothing I could do about it because there was no shoe store in Dulles. Bought some shoes, came here to my hotel, It's inside of a hospital. I didn't know that. But it's cool. Everything's fine now. I'm here. It's working out.
At least you have some stories to tell.
Yeah.
And you so I hope that it's just up from there. It can only go up from there. Okay, so Beer Can hates Michael, who is Laura's best friend. And so they're fighting about that. Beer Can's giving Laura the silent treatment. And so she's unsure about like what this situation is, what she should do. She's unsure about everything. Listen, girl, you're not unsure. Just listen to your gut. Your unsurety means just go home. Go home. The controlling side of him is concerning her. She is also concerned that he left her sitting in a hut by herself in a country that she doesn't live in. They get into the ride share and he's continuing to give the silent treatment. She's trying to talk to him and he's basically, listen, trust me, men know men, and Michael wants you for more than a friendship, and that's why I want you to cut him off. And she says, well, I am on my way to meet your friends out of mutual respect. Are you open to meeting him? And then Beer Can says, you're pushing my will. I don't want to talk about it anymore. You're acting like a spoiled brat, Beer Can. And yeah, I get you're 26, but I'm not here for it. What were your thoughts on that part?
I don't care about either one of their perspectives on this issue. They're both dumb on this issue. Because, like, Beer Can, you're throwing a fit over this person as if you have any authority over who she's friends with, and you have no home, you have no money, you have nothing. And then Laura, you know that this person is someone that you previously were interested in. This is someone that you also told that if you got into a serious relationship that he'd have to step back. So what are you arguing for?
What she said, y'all. So they're off to meet his friends, Tugba and Mehmet. What I loved about this moment was the greeting was very kind. And that was the first thing I wrote down, you guys. And that stood out. It stood out to me and it stood out to his friends as well. So they sit down. We find out that he's a regular at this restaurant. Everyone knows him, all the things. They sit down and we find that he's going to be the translator, which, again, you guys, just pull your phone out. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Because, first of all, and here's the thing, you guys, I like facts, As a reporter, I need the facts. I need to see the facts for myself. And I haven't even gotten to Trisha and Rick, but listen, not only because I don't like Rick and because Abby brought that to my attention, I'm also trying to make an active effort to research the things that I don't like when people say that I don't believe, to make sure that they're in fact true. And if they're true, I'll give them their props. That being said, throw out your Google Translate, get your ChatGPT. Don't rely on an unreliable person to translate, because they're not going to translate verbatim, which drives me crazy. So he's the translator. And we find out that his friends, Mehmet thinks that Beer Can really does love Laura, but hasn't told her everything about him yet. And he's worried about that because that can create problems in the future. And they both think that, both meaning Tugba and Mehmet, Beer Can's friends, think that Laura gave a first great impression. They think she's warm. They think she's friendly. They think that she looks younger than she is. All praise, right? They sit down and the first thing that comes over is shisha, which I'm assuming is the Turkish equivalent to hookah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
but much stronger, you guys. Be careful. Be careful if you shisha over there, because that almost knocked me out.
Shisha is stronger than hookah?
Yes.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they'll come around and be like, you gotta smoke faster because the coals don't stay ignited, I guess, whatever. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. This feels like hard drugs.
Oh wow, really? Oh wow. Okay, good to know. So he smokes shisha every day. He goes to that cafe restaurant every day. He knows everyone there at the restaurant. And Laura's kind of started, her spidey senses are going up. Like, what's going on here? Because he has all this debt, and she feels like maybe you should be more productive than kicking it here all day, every day.
Hmm.
So the friends start talking about how people see Birkin as harsh because they can't reach out to him because he has a tough layer. And so they say inside he's really soft, but outside he has a hard shell. He translates it into, oh, yeah, people think I'm harsh, but like I'm a little kid. And my note says he puts a little extra on it and SMH because that's absolutely not what they just said. And therefore, that's why I'm having a problem with this whole him being in charge of translating specifically about himself. He's never going to say the truth because he's going to always sugarcoat it because it's about him.
Hmm.
Then they say there's an unknown side, and Mehmet says, "Can I say?" Right? All in Turkish, though. Can I say? He says that to his friend. And then Tugba's like, yeah, you shouldn't keep this from her because she's going to find out. And when she finds out, the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. Crickets. He doesn't translate any of it. Which, Laura, you're a better person than me because if I hear all this back and forth and I'm looking at people's facial expressions, I'm like, what's going on here? What's happening? That's what I would say. But not what I would say that I would look down on my phone and look at what's being translated. You could translate everything. Do you guys know that I actually even have earpods, a headset that translates all the languages? Like, there's no excuse. So he says nothing. He doesn't translate anything. And his friends continue to encourage him to come clean about who he is as an individual. And then I can't stop saying it because in my notes it just continues to happen. Girl, get your Google Translate out. Like, what are we waiting for? We're waiting for the man that you just fought with, that you don't really feel comfortable with, that you're like unsure about. We're waiting for him to translate truth to you? I mean, no. So Mehmet's like, in Turkish, to Birkan, does she know how often you gamble? And so that's the first time we're hearing what this whole thing is about. So Birkan gambles every day. He has no job. And now that we throw all of that into consideration, that 50,000 US dollars that he's in debt is because he's a gambling addict. And he thinks, and I want to be clear about this, Abby, and everyone listening and live chat. I want to be clear about this. Okay? Because I think that social media has some of you guys confused. Just because you gamble every day doesn't mean you are a professional gambler. Period and full stop. Some of you that gamble every day are addicts and have an addictive personality, and you probably need to get help for it. And some of that debt, all of the debt, part of the debt is due to the fact that you're addicted to gambling. Professional gamblers compete in tournaments. They travel the world in prearranged, pre-existing, fully funded, and fully ad generating tournaments. Okay, you going to the casino every day and spending your money and losing your money does not make you a professional gambler. So when the friend's like, does she know how often you gamble, that you gamble every day? And he, again, is not translating any of this and instead is encouraging his friends to change the topic and to talk about something so it acts like they're continuing the conversation that she knows nothing about. Yeah, that was all problematic for me. What were your opinions on that, Abby?
This is called addiction. You guys, if you see this in someone, this is addiction. And you need to make a conscious decision if you're going to be involved with someone who has an addiction. Don't slide into it. It's a serious thing.
Facts. Anything else before I move on to Trisha and
No.
Rick?
Let's go, Rick and Trisha.
Rick and Trisha. Okay, so here is where, again, so you know, these episodes, you guys, are 2 hours long, and I take notes and I also do my research. That's why it takes me half the day. But I do want to say this again. I know I just said it, but I'm very proud of myself. For the people that do not like, I am trying to be better at not liking them. And so I'm doing my own research before I get irritated by them. So when Trisha and Rick were on the boat to Nozikoma, which is actually the Comoro Islands, to see the lemurs, which are those little animals. Here, I'm going to pop this up right here for you. So Rick said that they were only in Madagascar. And honestly, I just didn't believe him. I was like, this fool doesn't know anything about anything, doesn't travel, doesn't know anything about, let me look it up. But it's true. They are only in Madagascar, which has now put Madagascar on my to-do travel list. And yeah, they're only...
I'm sure he only knew that because of the cartoon, though.
That's what he said. You're right. You're right.
So you don't have to give him any props for being smart or anything.
They're super cute. He calls them squirrel monkeys. And you guys, they're cute. And I could see where he would get that combination from. Like, look at this little lemur. Like, look at it. You just want to, like, touch the hair, squish his belly. Yeah, it's super cute. So that's where they are. They're on the island. Trisha explains what to call them, which is maki maki. And he's thinking that means like monkey monkey. No, it means lemur lemur, which again, like, why are you so basic? So they're walking around the island. Rick misses his boys, but says to Trisha's face, y'all, that it's worth it though, because if he can bring her back to America as their stepmother, then it would be worth it. He envisions a family unit of just the 4 of them. And of course, my note says, what? FML, what? Because number one, we all know from the first episode that she wants kids. She's been wanting kids. She's only in her 20s. That's important to her. We find out later in her episode that it's also important to her family. Next, where is their mom? You're saying a unit of 4? Did you kill her? I watch all the true crime. What do you mean, just a unit of 4? Where is the mother that you brought over on a K-1 visa from Nigeria? Does she not exist anymore? And then the third thing that I found out, Abby, I don't know if you knew this, but I didn't know this. He hasn't been married one time. He's been married and divorced twice. So this would be his 3rd marriage if it comes to fruition. And I'm not here for it.
We knew that because he has the older set of children. And then he has the 2 younger kids that he had with Chi-Chi. And then he wants to marry Trisha.
Oh, I probably blocked that out because I'm not.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
I did. Because I was like, what? You've been married twice?
But he has some. Yeah, he has some children in their 20s.
Yeah, I remember that part because he went to cookout. I remember that part. I just didn't realize he had multiple marriages. But okay, yeah. I just had a whole thing that I wanted to say. I'm just not going to do it because we're almost done, and that would have set me on a But I will say this, like, he's not the prize, y'all. He's not the prize at all. 52, bunch of baby mamas, and then you're trying to get a 25-year-old, literally you said, to come over as a stepmama, and now you're also gaslighting her. No. Okay, so Trisha wants her own kids. He says he's not in a position to have another kid. Are you broke? Is that what you're saying? Because just tell us that you're broke. Because you're 52. What do you mean you're not in a position? And if you're 52 and broke, why is that?
That is exactly what he's saying. He's saying, I don't have the finances to have another child.
She says, what's the issue? And then she gives him the grace by saying, beside what other issue, when are you going to decide? No, Trisha, no. You decide. He's already saying, like, if someone's telling you exactly who they are, believe them. He's saying he's not in a position. He's saying he's gaslighting her, and this is what pissed me off. So she says, when are you going to decide? You should decide. And he's like, well, I'm not ready to make that decision now, even though they had the conversation before he got there that they would have the conversation as soon as he got there. Now that he's there, he says he's not ready to make that decision. But then he goes to camera, like we are to camera right now, and says to production that basically, no, he doesn't want to have kids. He's 52. He'd like starting all over. And most of his kids, except for the youngest, are grown. So
he wants to just string her along.
He's gaslighting her, Abby.
A lot of men can't deal with not having access to the woman that they want, so they'll just lie to us and string us along instead.
No. This is what this episode totally irritated me. So he says to her face after talking to production, well, I'm not closing the door on having a kid. Liar. And to sprinkle the sprinkles on top of all of this is he still hasn't told her about him cheating in Colombia with his ex. We find out from her that it's important in her culture to have children. She really wants to have children. It's the next day. They're having a picnic. This was my favorite part of the episode, you guys. And because I love fish, but the fried fish picnic on the beach, open flame, with the cast iron pot and the salt and ginger and olive oil. It just was like, put me there. Just put me there. That fried. I was going to take okay, so love it. It's part of also African culture just in general. And every time I go home, I bring I make my mom, yes, mom, thank you, love you, cook for me because I love her cooking. And fried fish is part of it. And she'll freeze it and wrap it and all the thing. I think I told you guys this. I'm a true immigrant traveler now because one whole suitcase is literally food. I love this. So you light the fire, you're on the beach, and you have a fish fry. Way to my heart. What did you think of it, Abby?
I love the setup. You guys, I can't eat fish, but the setup was beautiful.
Aww.
I know it sucks so much, but I try not to complain because it's not as bad as like a peanut allergy.
Facts. But still, I get that. So they're squatting down and Trisha wants to teach Rick how to do the fish fry, but he's too concerned in his older age because he's not really even that old, but he acts it. He can't squat, so he doesn't even want to sit on the ground. Like you could sit cross-legged on the ground or something, but no, he wants to like sit on a chair and doesn't want to learn how to do the fish fry, which tells me all I need to know about him. But then they have like some conversation. He finds out that he's older than Trisha's dad. So Trisha's dad is 50, Rick is 52, and Trisha's dad knows nothing about Rick, not his age, not his multiple and failed marriages, not his multiple baby mamas and multiple kids, knows nothing. Trisha hasn't told the dad anything because the dad would have automatically said no. And so she's worried that she's bringing him to meet the family because she may have to choose between Rick and her dad and family. And especially if Rick continues to say that he doesn't want to have kids, he will absolutely not get the blessing from the family, and she will therefore not be able to marry him. And that's all I have to say. Besides, literally, my note says the fish looks delicious. I'm done with Rick.
You were sidetracked at that point. Yeah, this
I was
is.
done with Rick.
Yeah.
What do you have to add?
So, we mentioned the fact that he's gaslighting her, stringing her along with regard to the kids issue, but he's doing the same thing with the Columbia issue. Every single time he's intimate with her and hasn't told her his past, that's also being deceitful, not being forthcoming.
Yeah.
I don't know if that one's also gaslighting, but everything that he's doing, when he talks about why he hasn't told her the truth, it's all about how it's going to affect him. He has not once considered how it's going to feel for her. So he's just a very selfish and immature man. And I feel bad that we're like, the other part of this that's horrible to me is not only are you keeping something from your partner, eventually they're going to see this. They're going to see all the times that you mentioned it and all the ways that you were deliberate about not telling them the truth.
Yep. 100%. 100% agree with Abby. You guys, that's everything. Thank you guys for being with us. I know we ran a little late today. Abby, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy Norway. Everyone, make sure you're following her so you can follow her travel adventures. Abby the attorney. Make sure you're following all our social medias, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the things everywhere. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yes. Touches everywhere, guys, because it's not the same thing everywhere. We are different in different places. So follow everything.
We really are, you guys. And if you're going to follow my personal page, just know that that's my personal page. So look out for all the nonsense. That being said, happy Friday. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. If it's Saturday for you, happy Saturday. And we will see you guys soon. Bye for now. Ciao.
Bye-bye.